Been a few days, but we got a menagerie of shit to cover when it comes to Justin Trudeau. Oh my god, hopefully this is the last time I'll have to talk about him this year, but he never ever fails to disappoint. As you can see here with the first headline, Chinese state-owned companies among recipients of Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. Yes, Chinese interests are getting paid and not anybody I know. We're receiving fuck all when it comes to stimulus relief, but that's not a concern of Justin Trudeau. He could give a fuck if the western half of this country fell off into the ocean, but as long as the Chinese are taken care of, Justin Trudeau's job has been done correctly. Well, we've got a little bit more to talk about as well. Anyways, on Monday, the Canadian government published a database detailing the various companies that received government financial support under the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy program, with several companies owned by the Chinese government being among the recipients, and one of them having connections to an ongoing genocide of Uyghur Muslims in the northwestern region of China. Of course, it can never, ever be bad enough for the corruption of Justin Trudeau to be perfectly encapsulated, but this does a pretty good job. He's giving money to people that are perpetuating an ongoing genocide. Yes, of course he is. Under the program, a company which has a payroll account registered with the Canada Revenue Agency, are equivalent to the IRS, of course, and has experienced a drop in revenue, can apply to have up to 75% of their employees' wages subsidized by the government. Bravo, just taking care of those small businesses out there. Since the companies do not need to be based in Canada so long as they operate in the country, doesn't that just scream fairness and treating Canadians first? God, you just love to see it when your leaders take care of their constituents first. Anyways, multiple foreign companies, including a number owned by the Chinese government, no shit, were able to receive subsidies under the program. Air China, that should have been a little bit of a tip-off, a subsidiary of the state-owned China National Aviation Holdings, received wage subsidies. Air China experienced a substantial revenue drop. I wonder why in the first half of 2020, making it eligible for, the whatever fucking free handouts. China also collaborates with Huawei, which Justin Trudeau doesn't see a single problem with whatsoever, and they're still, I don't know if they're supplying all of the electronics for the Liberal Party, but that was talked about for a while. Another Chinese state-owned airline, China Southern Airlines. Why are there so many Chinese airlines out there that operate in Canada? Like, we got two that are exclusively Canadian. There's like WestJet and Air Canada. There's probably a few more, but those two right there are already offset by Air China and China Southern Airlines. Another major company which receives subsidies under the program is the Toronto branch of the Bank of China. Oh my god, I'm just now understanding how much interest China has in this entire country, and I can't wait to leave. The Bank of China has a long history of scandal. No, you don't say. Include being accused of funneling cash from countries such as Iran and Syria to terrorist organizations such as Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, both of which are recognized as terrorist organizations by the Canadian government, but that won't stop them from paying them. They can tell them that they're bad to their face, but line their pockets while they're not working. It's probably not the only thing Justin Trudeau wants to do to their pockets. Fill them with special treats. Earlier this year, the Bank of China settled a money laundering probe for $4 million. Oh my god. So they have a lot in common, Trudeau and the Bank of China. It was also revealed earlier this year that Foreign Affairs Minister Francois-Philippe Champlain, see how he likes to represent everybody across the country, because like a quarter of people predominantly speak French? Something like that. Held two mortgages collectively valued at $1.2 million with the Bank of China. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're dealing with Canadian funny money, that's not a number that you can sneeze at. Raising questions surrounding the minister's potential conflict of interests. Not like that ever matters. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China's another state-owned Chinese bank. I think the name was a little bit of a tip-off. 4 employees of their company recently received prison sentences and fines of $25.55 million in Spain for their role in a money laundering scheme. China Mobile. Has links to the People's Liberation Army. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, to be fair, they were already over here in training in Ontario and in Alberta, so you should be paying them for their time spent here, in case anybody was upset, you need to make sure that you pay them that hush money. Yeah, last month, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order banning Americans from investing in companies linked to the PLA. Oh boy, but they're worthy enough to be getting our taxpayer money. That's cool. China Mobile has reportedly invested in a company called Dumb, which provides surveillance technologies for Chinese government to use against their Uyghur Muslim minority. This isn't funny, but it is, because I'm funding this, which the Chinese government is currently committing a genocide against. I've extensively covered as well. They received financial support from the Canadian government despite a report from the Liberal-dominated Parliamentary Subcommittee on International Human Rights calling up the Government of Canada to take the necessary steps to conduct a review to ensure Canadian individuals, companies, and public bodies are not investing in technology companies involved in supporting or facilitating the abuse of fundamental human rights in China. And who fucking cares, because they still get paid and nothing's going to be done about it. As much as I bitch about this and as much as I show you guys what is going on with Justin Trudeau, he has carte blanche to do everything because he has the NDP currently in his minority government in his back pocket and has free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants because he can never be too far left enough for Jagmeet Singh. And so the list goes on, and his hypocrisy knows no bounds because you got the final group here, PetroChina. Obviously, Chinese-owned company, duh. Yeah, responsible for 1% of greenhouse gas emissions. But it's one of those things that Justin Trudeau champions. Oh boy, is he leading the charge on climate change and whatever the fuck he wants to call it this week. It's an emergency or I don't know, something. Be afraid of the climate. And we talked about the PLA here recently, a couple sentences ago. How about Canadian military ordered to salute Chinese president alongside North Korea? Not only is it enough to pay them, you need to make sure that they are respected at all times. Resurfaced Chinese state propaganda videos from last year's military World Games. Sounds like a boatload of fun. In Wuhan, China. Probably show the Canadian Armed Forces doing something that will make you sick. Of course. I feel bad for the people who were told that they had to do this under threat of court-martial. The Canadian contingent at the Games representing China and its military were ordered by superiors to salute the communist dictator of China, Xi Jinping, as they marched past him. This broke with Canada's traditional allies, including the United States, France, and other NATO countries. I'm shocked, I'm saddened, but I'm not surprised in the least bit. And I've kind of alluded to the fact that Justin Trudeau is a corrupt individual and presented a fair amount of evidence, but as well, the We Charity. One of the many ethics violations that Justin Trudeau has, a short synopsis on this, is Justin Trudeau's wife and mother, who used to be, First Lady of Canada, she allegedly dropped that hunk of shit out of her crotch a few decades ago. And they got paid, both of them, to speak at different events being hosted by this company. Now, this shouldn't be an issue, but they were also being subsidized heavily by the Liberal government. And I'm not talking like a leftist government, even though they are. No, the Liberal Party of Canada. And that was a major ethics violations. There's a lot more nuance to that, and it is due a video in and of itself, but this is just more shit that comes out to it. And the fact that they received emergency wage subsidy, part of the taxpayer dime to continue to fund his corruption, is just really makes you long for things I can't mention because I can't threaten a sitting prime minister. The Canadian government has released a database of businesses which have received the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy, with We Charity being listed among the beneficiaries of the program. Of course. And by the looks of this, their enrollment in the program is going to last until June 2021 because, of course, even though that they are filed for bankruptcy, but I'm not entirely sure. But at the same time, this will probably keep them afloat long enough that they can, corrupt whatever the fuck Justin Trudeau is going to do in the future. So Anyways, yeah, this gives a nice little brief synopsis as well. Indeed, We Charity has faced an immense revenue drop in the past year, which is a requirement for organizations seeking wage subsidies. However, the drop in revenue for We Charity can hardly be attributed to the pandemic, but rather due to the now infamous We Charity scandal, which plagued the Trudeau government over the summer. Did it? Well, no major outlets in Canada wanted to cover it, and he was never really pressed on anything, and a couple of his advisors just kind of took the bullet for him, stepped down, and probably got cushy jobs elsewhere, but whatever. In June, the Trudeau government announced that Canada's Wage Service Grant Program, which have provided summer jobs for students and recent university graduates, were unable to find work during the pandemic. We Charity was selected as the sole administrator of the program by the Canadian government, which immediately sparked controversy given the organization's cozy relationship with the federal Liberals. It was revealed that the charity provided over $41,000 in amenities to Bill Morneau during 2 separate foreign trips. He was a minister in the Trudeau government. It was also revealed that the organization had over the years paid members of the Trudeau family, including, yes, his wife, his mother, and his brother as well. I'm sure he's just as straight as Justin is. Over $400,000 in fees and amenities. Neither Trudeau nor Morneau, whatever, 2 fags in the same pod, had recused themselves from the cabinet meeting where the decision to grant the We Charity the administration rights to the program was made, leading critics to allege conflict of interest. I don't know, when your wife, your mother, and your brother get $400,000 in fees and services, it's kind of a conflict of interest, but you know what? Like I said, nobody held his feet to the fire for this, and he was just allowed to skate on it because he has such a beautiful face and a wonderful smile. And as you can kind of tell in that little sidebar here, we're going to this next story, and it's articles like this and it's outlets like this that just allow Justin Trudeau to skate. And I'm not even going to bother covering the recap because, as you can see by the headline, this is the type of treatment that this fucking lump of shit gets throughout the entire country. There are a few outlets, Rebel News, that I use as well and I've used in this video, and the post-millennial, that try to do their best to hold his feet to the fire, but nobody cares, because he's free to just do whatever the fuck he wants. Right now, he has over 40% approval rating, and it drives me nuts because he has at least 3 ethics strikes against him. He has bungled the fucking lockdown efforts at a federal level. He has, I don't know, just fucking throwing vaccines into a lake and just allowing first responders to go in and just fucking take whatever they want, and allowing all of this intersectionality and social justice shit. But no, Politico will just write a cringeworthy report about Justin Trudeau's beard and just tell everybody how wonderful he is, and you should just accept him because he's going along with Joe Biden's idea that climate change is the biggest, the most existential threat to humanity. And boy, he's really eloquent when he talks, but at the same time he says nothing, and you have to continuously wipe his podium for all the shit that just spews out from between his nose and his chin. The dude is a worthless human being, and the faster we can get rid of him, the better. And we don't have the luxury of him being up there in years, because I don't even think he's 50 at this point, unlike Joe Biden. He is, I don't know, just going to be around like a cyst on the ass of the Canadian public for the rest of time, and ugh. He's going to be like Barack Obama, linking in the shadows for the next 40 years and probably outlive me, but who knows? Who cares? I will continue to point out his hypocrisy and all of his ethics violations. Hopefully something comes of it. Hopefully this channel becomes something big enough where I can personally delight in his downfall, because he is nothing but a festering cyst on the Canadian body, and the sooner he is removed from public office, the better off everyone will be, because he does not deserve the chair in which he holds. He ran on the legacy of his father, which was not one to run on in the beginning. Anyways, he is loved out east, hated out west, and the asshole doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes in this one. So anyways, guys, that's enough of a rant on Justin Trudeau. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time, and we'll be covering some more stuff tomorrow that is a lot more brighter, potentially. I don't know what the news is going to be like tomorrow, but I'd like to hope that it'll be nice on Christmas Eve. So I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.